What is the significance of this like strategic career management in today's professional landscape?
Something I think some people are quite astute about and other people don't even realize at all is it is helpful to think of your career as almost a saleable asset. So if someone's thinking of hiring you, what they're looking at is not necessarily you, the person. They're looking at what is the story that your career tells about performance and results and alignment, and is that something that I want? Is that's how they're interpreting you when they interview you, when they take in your LinkedIn, your resume, and your story, and all those sorts of things. And I find, you know, a large part of career success, sadly, it isn't actually necessarily about how good you are at what you do. Yes, that is very important. I'm not taking away from that. But the people who are most successful in their career aren't necessarily the people who are the best at what they do. They're the people who build the best story over a period of time while also being really good at what they do. And so sometimes I've been guilty of this myself in the past. I'll tell you one of the big career mistakes I made. I've recruited in probably 5 different industries. And before I started this company, I spent some time doing enterprise sales, a completely different field. Now, from a personal interest point of view, that's been fantastic. And I've definitely learned a ton from those experiences that has culminated in me being able to bring certain experience today. But back when I was employed, actually from a career perspective, that was really bad because every time I moved into a new industry, I had to start from scratch. And I was quite impulsive when I was younger. So I've got a friend who I worked with 15 years ago in my first industry in recruiting. He runs a recruiting firm now today in that same industry. He's never left that industry in all this time. And, life's pretty easy for him now because everyone in the industry knows him and everything just recycles. And that's a kind of benefit you build up over time. What I see other people do is, let's say they get a marketing role for a layer 1. Okay, great. Ecosystem building, all that stuff. Then, either because they're pursuing an interest or out of necessity because the market turned and that's what they could get. Maybe they go and work in, I don't know, NFTs or DeFi, or they're jumping around sectors. Or you could have the engineer who keeps moving ecosystems. You could have the BD person who again they're changing their customer type. Maybe they spent years doing institutional sales, then they take a role doing crypto native BD, then they go back to institutional again, and what you're losing is that build up of the narrative showing, hey, I can produce this result time and time again in this area at consistently higher levels. And I was having a conversation with someone a few months ago. I won't say what company they worked at because it would make it pretty obvious who this person was. But they were in a C-level position at a very well-known blockchain project. And their dilemma was, I'm thinking about considering a move because I don't know about the stability here. We might all end up getting laid off. However, with the state of the bear market and the seniority of their position, the chances of them finding an equivalent position at that time was so remote as to be non-existent. But that person, they had just the position they held at that time gives them so much credibility that when the market comes back, as it is now, they would be able to walk into any equivalent position, I think. If one were to be available, the challenge is there are very few positions like that in a bear market. And so, as I believe, he ended up staying there for that reason. And sometimes these things are out of your control. Sometimes you need a new role. But whenever you're thinking about a career move, think about what does this history that I have right now allow me to trade this in the form of my next role. And it's something to really weigh up because, especially in crypto where things can go so wrong, one bad move, everyone gets allowed that. But I've seen people get into the cycle where they've had this really illustrious career, then they make a bad move. It doesn't work out. 4 months later, they make another bad move, and another bad move, and another bad move. Soon enough, no one wants to hire them. And sometimes it's not even anything they've done. They've just made bad choices on who to work for too many times in a row. And the problem is every time that happens, your options reduce even more. So then you have it's a vicious circle. And I think a lot of life is about flywheels. It's about, are you building a positive flywheel or a negative flywheel? And in terms of career management, that's something really to watch out for.
And I think you see that quite a lot in the roles of like sales and marketing, as you said, like BD roles. And it becomes really difficult to understand your customer base of who you're actually selling to and marketing to when you keep chopping and changing industries all the time.
That's exactly right. Yeah, there's an institutional knowledge that builds up the more exposure you have to a specific topic. That's why we have specialism in the division of labor.